Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Some Guy with the Mic, co-host for today's episode.
I'm Some Guy with a Hat, the host of today's episode, and joining us today for our first guest ever is our resident Canadian friend, Will.
Hi there, happy to be here.
Great, such an honor to have you on, and I'm looking forward to this episode in particular because you shared that you have a deep love for what we're going to be talking about today.
I do. I love the topic in which we are going to be discussing so much. It holds a very special place in my heart.
Great. Well, with that, how do you guys feel about jumping right into some trivia?
I'm excited.
I'm game.
I'm gonna get destroyed, but that's fine.
All right. So how this game is going to work, we're going to go one at a time. Will, I think we're going to have you go 1st.
Mhm.
I'm going to ask you 5 questions. You're going to have 60 seconds. Time will start after I ask the first question. If you don't know it, you might as well pass because it'll just save you some time.
Gotcha.
All right. I'm going to
All right.
actually physically leave the room while you do his questions so that I can't cheat, and then just ping me in Discord when you want me to come back.
All right, I will send you a text.
Alrighty, I'm leaving now. I keep taking my headphones off. I can no longer cheat. I'm gonna close the door for authenticity.
We really think he's gone.
I heard the doors. I think I heard the door slam. I think I'm good.
All right. Are you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
All right. Your time starts now. Who is the author of the books titled Andromeda Strain, Terminal Man, and Timeline?
Michael Crichton.
What is the first dinosaur seen on screen in the Jurassic Park franchise?
I'm a Brontosaurus.
What is the name of Chris Pratt's character in the Jurassic World movies?
Owen Grady.
What is Muldoon's last line in Jurassic Park?
Pass.
What are the names of the primary two islands that the Jurassic Park franchise takes place on?
Isla. Isla Nublar, and I want to say Isla Soma.
All right, that is your time. Now, for clarification, making sure I heard you right. You said Isle Nubar and Isle Soma?
Yes, I think I got those wrong,
Okay.
but that's fine.
All right. Well, that was a great out of trivia. I'm going to text the co-host for the episode and get him back in.
Okay, I return. Not quite back at my desk yet. Now I'm back at my desk. All right, how did you do?
I kind of choked. I can't lie under the pressure with all the studio lighting in here. So I don't think I did as well as I could have, but I think I did okay.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, you're more than welcome to just remain where you are. You've already answered questions. You can listen to me fumble all you like. Put a minute on the clock and just hit me whenever you're ready.
All right, your time is going to begin. Now, who is the author of the books titled Andromeda Strain, Terminal Man, and Timeline?
Robert Pattinson.
What is the first dinosaur seen on screen in the Jurassic Park franchise?
That would be when the guy is getting his arm ripped off by a velociraptor in a cage.
What is the name of Chris Pratt's character in the Jurassic World movies?
Chris Pratt, the Dinosaur Man.
What is Muldoon's last line in Jurassic Park?
Uh, he doesn't get one. He just screams.
What are the names of the primary two islands that the Jurassic Park franchise takes place on?
Geneva and Genoa.
All right, time. You know, it occurs to me I should have kept the time on the clock for Will's time instead of clearing it out. But it's okay. I'm pretty sure I remember it. All right, Cam, how do you think you did?
I am pretty sure I got one right. I think I got one right.
All right, let's get into the answers and see if you are correct. All right, question 1. Will, are you back with us?
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Who's the author of the books titled Andromeda Strain, Terminal Man, and Timeline, to name just a few? Our very own guy with the mic said Robert Pattinson,
Mm-hmm.
and Will said Michael Crichton. Cam, how do you feel about your answer for this one?
So, as you may know, I do not read many books. I listen to audiobooks, and whenever I listen to audiobooks, I just attribute to whoever's voice acting. That must be who wrote the book, because that's not how it works, but that's how it works in my mind. I also don't know who Robert Pattinson is.
He was the Twilight guy. He most recently did the Batman.
Oh, right, that's him.
He,
Yeah.
He
is
clearly
Batman.
wrote those books, though, too.
Yeah, he's such a talented person. But unfortunately for you, William is correct. It is Michael Crichton,
Whoa.
who also ended up writing the Jurassic Park novels, which is why that question is in here. All right, number 2. What is the first dinosaur seen on screen in the Jurassic Park franchise? Some guy with a mic, you said the Velociraptor.
Mhm.
Will, you said a Brontosaurus. Now, I would have taken 2 answers. Velociraptor is the first one that is seen partly, and the first dinosaur that is seen in its entirety is the Brachiosaurus, not a Brontosaurus.
Oh,
So,
I thought I said Brachiosaurus. Dang it, I knew I had him backwards.
Killed by
yeah,
technicality.
when I was writing the question, I had Brontosaurus because that's what I thought it was, but I checked them all just to make sure,
Mhm.
and multiple sources say it's a Brachiosaurus. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, unfortunately for us all, Cameron gets the point.
Hello.
All tied up.
Let's see, yep, we're tied up 1-1. Will's in the lead. Going into number 3. What is the name of Chris Pratt's character in the Jurassic World movies? So go with the mic. You say Chris Pratt, the Dino Man,
Mm-hmm.
which is very close. But Will said Owen Grady, and that is correct. 2-1. We're all tied up. Going into question 4. What is Muldoon's last line in Jurassic Park? Microphone, you said scream. Will, you said pass. Now, do the words clever girl ring a bell at all?
They sure do.
Yep, because that was the line. Right, no points, scores the same, 2-1, going into the final question. Some guy with a mic needs this one to tie it up. How are we feeling? How confident are we that it's going to get to a tie?
I'm not at all.
All right. What are the names of the primary 2 islands that the Jurassic Park franchise takes place on? Cam, you went with Geneva and Genova. Will went with Isla Nubar and Isla Soma. That is so close. I really want to give it to you, but it is Isla Nublar and Isla Sorna.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But doesn't matter either way because Will, you win the very first game of Two Raccoons in a Trench Coat podcast trivia in full. So congratulations. How do you feel about your momentous victory?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling a little silly for getting the mispronunciations for the islands and the dinosaur, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling happy.
Yeah, I mean, you were very close on all of yours. So close enough to a 5 out of 5 in my book.
Thank you. Thank you.
If it had come down to times, times were also very close. Cam did it in a time of 45 seconds. You were 3 seconds longer.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you speak about time?
I
With
suppose.
48
Yes.
seconds. So, all right, with trivia out of the way, let's get into the topic in full, which I'm sure everyone can figure out by now. We're talking about dinosaurs today, specifically the Jurassic Park franchise. And before we get into any specifics, I want to touch on some general thoughts. Like, what do we feel about this franchise as a whole?
I'll let our guest go first.
Oh, thank you. Um, as for the franchise as a whole, I just adore it. Without going into like too many specifics, I think the first is just a monument, like just such a perfect piece of work. And I think all the other movies have done a decent job kind of building around it. It always is exciting to see a new Jurassic Park movie, to see what they're going to do next. Whether it's well executed or not is another statement in its own. But I enjoy seeing a little dinosaur on screen and then them, doing their thing and how the people interact and deal with it. So it's really good. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I don't think I could have articulated that any better myself. Like, I think we view the franchise the same way. Again, I don't think anything can beat the first movie because it is such a near perfect piece of media. Um, and while the other films have come close in places, um, I'm experiencing a lot of diminishing returns with each subsequent installment.
Do
Oh, for
we
real.
do we have a feeling that, so as you are both aware, Jurassic Park movies back in the 90s, the original, let's call it the original trilogy, came out pretty far apart from one another, including going from VHS to, I think, did 3 release on both VHS and DVD? I want to say that 3
I
got both on its initial release, was both VHS. I know I had a VHS of 3. I know I had a DVD of 3, but I'm not sure if the DVD came out. It's like a collector's thing.
Yeah, what year did
The
JP3 come out? Let me Google.
2001.
Yeah, so it would have gotten a DVD.
Release. So that being said, do we have the same vibe that it's suffering from the same sickness as last week's Marvel things, where we're just getting so much so quickly because it's popular and it prints money? Because
I
Jurassic
don't
World,
necessarily
so
think.
many came out so quick, it feels like. But then again, I'm getting older and time moves faster now.
I
No,
think
that's
it might.
definitely the case. The world movies and its new trilogy, it seems, are coming out very close together. Um, I don't think that's what's harming it. Um, I just think they're missing the magic of the originals. To me, that's why I'm not as fond of the new stuff.
For preparation for this podcast, I went back and watched the original trilogy yesterday, and then watched Jurassic World as like a comparison piece. And I actually started Jurassic World halfway through watching Jurassic Park 2, just because I was watching it with my mom and she had an appointment. And the tonal whiplash that I got watching these movies like back to back was just insane. They're just entirely different genres, and like you said, they just don't have the same magic or feeling. So I think it's just they're taking the original idea and taking it in a new direction, and whether that pan like does well for most people is up to up to them and their own ideas. Jurassic World did make like $1.6 billion, so people must like it.
Yeah, and part of one of my talking points I have later on in the list is sequels versus originals, specifically with the real animatronic props or CGI dinosaurs. And I think there was so much care that went into making that original trilogy with all the props. And it's conveyed almost perfectly on screen. And it seems real. There is a bit of CGI used to like cover some stuff, but for the most part, what you're seeing is actually there.
Mhm.
And that lends itself to having to take a lot more care when you're planning out shots, actually filming the thing. Versus with CGI, you can make a little bit of a mistake and alter everything digitally, and you're still fine. So, as a filmmaking standpoint, I would have much preferred to be involved with the originals had I been born 30 years earlier. But um,
Oh, to be young again.
Our tender age of our late 20s.
well, is that kind of what you guys are thinking is the difference, because like that's what I attribute the main feeling of. Um,
I agree. I think I mean, how do I put this in a way that makes sense to anyone outside my head? Um, there's
that's the real
so
struggle, isn't it?
there's so much more to the older movies, just production wise, I feel. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to devalue what the crews have done with these new movies, but I just feel that we had such limited technology, 20, 30 years ago, as comparison to today, that there's, like you said, so much more goes into it. And I feel that it adds so much heart and character to how these movies
Yes.
are made, and that it's just like our wonderful guest said, there's a huge whiplash between the older movies and the new ones. And I am wondering if it's not the production that sort of lends itself to that. Because now that things are, I'm not going to say they're super fast to do. I am saying that there's definitely a disconnect between, like, hey, we have CGI that can make our velociraptors as cool as we want, and then back in the day, like, we had a moving stationary style T-Rex that if it rained, it became too dangerous to operate.
It almost killed someone.
It did. It almost had a kill count. And you just don't get that with modern studio stuff and these OSHA regulations. It's not the same.
No,
No, that's. Sorry, please go ahead.
sorry. I like to kind of view things from like an author's perspective, if you will. It might be wrong, but I also feel, in that mindset that the Jurassic Park movies and the Jurassic World movies serve different purposes. Where Jurassic Parks is more about cautionary tales and about man versus the dinosaur and man playing God and having to deal with that. Jurassic World is about man versus man, and there's dinosaurs there. And they're cool,
Ooh, very interesting.
but it's more of about a struggle between man rather than a struggle between the man and their dinosaur and reckoning with the decisions that they had made.
I like that take. I like
Yeah,
the take a lot.
yeah, because that first one is very much. I mean, to quote Ian Malcolm, you were so focused on whether or not you could, you didn't stop to think of whether or not you should. I think
Exactly.
that's a really big thing in the first trilogy. I mean, they touch on it a little bit in World, but it is very much more like man versus man, like corporate greed, like let's get these animals kind of thing.
Oh yeah, like the main villain, the surprise villain is about like it's just a military like I'm going to use these dinosaurs for war instead of like we're stranded on this island, we're fighting for our lives, we need to evacuate.
Does that
Yeah,
And
lean
it's
like
itself to action versus horror to you?
oh, 100%, 100%. It's like Jurassic Park 1 is so much of a thriller. No other
mhm,
movie that in that series got me so scared and anxious, like in a good way, in a really, really good way, where I was just on the edge of my seat the whole time of like, what's going to happen? What's around the corner? And then every subsequent movie in Jurassic Park, I felt that less and less. I felt it a little bit in 2 and not as quite as much in 3. And then in Jurassic World, it was just gone because it had gone from thriller to thriller with a little bit of action, thriller with a little bit more action to full on action.
yeah, I think of it the same way. Like when I want to watch a dinosaur movie, I want to be scared. Like I want it to feel more like the first one.
Mm-hmm.
The sequel series feels a bit more fantastical, and I think part of that lends itself to like we have more technology now. Like it's a crisper image, so it kind of feels updated in that sort of way. But again, there's like a raw feeling to the first ones almost, where it seems real. You can imagine yourself in that situation instead of like, oh yeah, I'm looking at a CGI dinosaur. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
that bothered about it.
Mm-hmm. Or like you
Um,
said, where it's like a real animatronic, like it's legitimately terrifying because that thing exists in the world.
right. Since we're talking about how we feel about these things in this way, let's touch a bit on first experiences. I have a bit of a story about watching the first one for the first time. I'm wondering what your experiences have been with this franchise. So, the first time I watched Jurassic Park, I was probably 5, 4 or 5, and it came on TV. Yeah, and my parents were there. And they're like, "Oh yeah, it's a movie about dinosaurs. You're gonna like it. It might be a little scary. Whatever, whatever, whatever." It gets to the T-Rex scene, and I am not hiding behind the couch, but I'm like there, peeking my head out, watching it. And as soon as the lawyer gets it, I'm like, "Well, he's dead." Like, okay, but no, from that point on, I was fascinated with that movie, and I don't think any other time I've watched it has even come close to the wonder and the thrill that I experienced the first time watching it.
I'll follow up with that. Um, so I want to put this as a take a little bit in a personal direction. So I, as a child, received an award in elementary school for reading every book about dinosaurs in our library.
Oh,
I still have that award
Wow.
somewhere. I'll find it and I'll send in a picture of it for our social media just so I can validate my claim. I entirely attribute that award, that greatness, the first and last reward I have ever received, to the fact that in the first movie I had to be came out before I was born. It had to be within kindergarten age. So what, 5, 6, somewhere around there.
yeah, about that.
The scene before it gets terrifying, well, too terrifying, where they're in the park and they're going through, and there's that beautiful wide shot of just the as in the trivia, the was it was Brontosaurus, right?
Brachiosaurus.
Brachiosaurus. God, I hate myself. There's just that beautiful wide shot of the Brachiosaurus, and I, sitting far too close to a very large television run by tubes, was just enthralled with this beautiful shot. And there were dinosaurs and they were cool, and then there's the Triceratops and it's like laying on its side, and they're like, oh, we can listen to it breathing. And it was just so magical that it sparked a obsession with dinosaurs, an autistic obsession with dinosaurs, um, that led me to having the greatest achievement of my life.
That was very impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we will be looking for that image of that award to validate your authenticity there.
I will
So,
find it. My mother must have it somewhere in her repertoire of things that she never threw away.
I mean, it's not being hung on display as the only award you've ever received.
It is not. It's too precious to be on display. It must be kept locked in a vault to prove I know how to read.
You know what? I'll give you an award, the Really Great Friend Award. I just
Oh,
bestowed that upon you. You better cherish it forever.
I will print it out.
All right, Will, your turn.
For me, I don't have as grand of a story. But growing up, I was a very anxious little kid, especially when it came to watching media, to the point where I couldn't watch Spirited Away because seeing No Face on the DVD scared me to no end, and I don't know why. But like many formative experiences in my life, I was at Costco and they had a Blu-ray set of Jurassic Park 1, 2, and 3, and my mom loves like Jurassic Park, Star Wars, the older movies. So she saw it and she was like, "Oh, let's get it and we'll watch it." And so we sat down and we watched all three. I want to say like every weekend for a few weeks because I was about 16. I was still in high school. And watching the first was just such a life-changing experience. Like I had never experienced true quote unquote cinema like that before. So it was a wild ride. I was just glued to the screen. I could not look away. I couldn't believe what I was seeing either. It was just so masterful.
Yeah, it's funny how all three of us, in some way, shape, or form, have to the conclusion that these movies are magical, right? Do we think that's all Spielberg's doing? I mean, we might not all have the same background knowledge of like production side, but where was I even going with this? This might get edited.
Was it? Do you think it was Spielberg was the main catalyst to us all loving these movies? Is that what you're going for?
Yeah, because he's done so many countless movies that everyone loves, like Jaws, Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park. Um, is that just Spielberg magic, or is it something more? Do we think? Like, do we think it was a great story from Michael Crichton that lent itself to the wonderful script, or
I do have
it...
a theory on this.
Oh.
So I think that especially every major motion picture has two key characters, and that is going to be the writer, in this place Crichton, and the directors being Spielberg. I think, personally, this is a masterclass of two of the best at what they do coming together to make something truly unique and something so far ahead of its time, both technologically and just industry-wide, that it is almost uncomparable to almost any other work. Simply because, and don't get me wrong, because let's look at, because you were mentioning Spielberg, I'm just going to steal the range from me for a second. So 2018, Ready Player One came out. Show of hands who saw that.
I've seen bits of it.
See, that's the thing. I went and saw it in theaters because, do you know who directs that movie?
I'm going to guess Spielberg, by the way.
You are
the conversation
so correct. Yes, the Tim Burton classic. So yeah, Ready Player One was Spielberg. However, it does not get the same acclaim, so I cannot, in my good sense, give it to Spielberg for saying, he's the one who made this wonderful movie. But Ready Player One, and this is to my discredit, is it well written as a book? Who's to say? Who can read? I can't. But I think it's just...
club.
He also directed Tintin from 2011. Anybody here gone and seen Tintin?
I did. I cannot remember anything about it.
Is that the animated one?
No, that'd be the live action Tintin.
Have you seen Tintin, Cam?
No, I haven't. I was giving an example I have seen and one I hadn't seen, just to be fair. He also does Warhorse. If anyone's seen Warhorse, I haven't seen Warhorse.
No.
Warhorse was pretty good. We watched it in school for whatever reason.
So okay, there we go. We've all seen something that none of the other two people have seen. Perfect. Wonderful examples by me. Thank you for all my research. But it's what on to our Canadian correspondent. Do you attribute all this magic to Spielberg?
No, I think you said it perfectly. Just exactly what I was thinking of, how having the brilliant idea from Michael Crichton to be able to adapt that great script from the book to... Sorry, the words are escaping me. For Spielberg to then be able to take that and use his movie making magic, because he does produce visually like very good films, very fun. Indiana Jones, like you said. And be able to take that and make something like Jurassic Park with, I think, the right time as well. Because if it was made a few years prior, the animatronics might not have looked as good. Mm-hmm. It was made a few years later, we'd be getting all 3D CG, and it would just not hold up as well. I'm sure we'd still be, talking about the story and how great it was, but then we'd be wincing about, the dinosaurs though. They could have looked a little bit better.
100%. Speaking of Michael Crichton, let's get into some differences between the books and the movies. Have any of you read the books?
We've already established I cannot read.
And fun fact, I also cannot read.
Oh, great. All right. So I might be flying solo here for a little bit, but I do want to touch on some of the more major differences, primarily in the first one. The second one, the film is, well, the first book and film follow the very similar plot points, events. So it's easier to compare the differences. The second kind of goes its own way. Basic setup is the same. Like Ian Malcolm's alive again, and they go to the second island to find Sarah. Other than that, the differences get more and more extreme to where it's almost not worth comparing the smaller differences. The first book is a lot more brutal. It's very descriptive in the death scenes, and a lot of the characters have different deaths. Kind of going in sequence. The first major difference is, so in the movie, things start to differentiate right during the raptor attack on the welcome center, the resort. The power gets turned back on by Ellie. She comes out, and across the way, Dr. Wu, he's actually a character in the book, surprisingly. He's not just a one scene and done cameo. He comes out from across the way of the building. He's like, hey, like, there are raptors. You need to, like, get over here. And that's when he's snatched by a raptor himself, and he dies. So he's not able to be brought back in 4 to 5 movies as the secondary surprise villain antagonist of the whole entire series. Muldoon, he actually makes it out alive. There's a whole second ending after the main attack, where they go into a dinosaur's nest and do some research. It's been a long time since I've read the book, so I don't want to get too specific with it because I'm probably going to say it wrong. But he survives. Nedry's death is pretty much the same. Again, it gets more graphic with it. Yeah, it's such a great suspenseful book, and I would recommend it even if you've seen the movie. It's different enough, and it's a great read. So that's what I'll say on the books. Sorry, did someone gonna?
For all those of us who cannot read, I've already checked. Yes, Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton is in fact on Audible. You can buy it for 1 credit or for $15. If you can't read and you just want to have Jurassic Park story time, it's there. It's narrated by Scott Brick.
Thanks, Scott. I will say I enjoy the Lost World book more than the first one. I think it is a bit more suspenseful. A bit more happens, even though it is a pretty condensed setting. But I don't know. That's probably just me because I'm a blonde. But
speaking of the second book, so the second one is where they release a T-Rex in New York City. Is that correct?
Oh yeah.
The movie, yeah. That
does that happen in the book?
No.
I was gonna say, because when it comes to the second... Okay, first off, the second movie is trash. And you know why it's trash? Do you know why it's trash?
Why is it trash?
There is no Sam Neill, no Dr. Alan Grant.
True.
That, as a child, he's why I wanted to be a paleontologist and why I wanted to be broke for a living. The whole contrivity of why is every major motion picture from, I don't know, the late 90s, the second one has to be New York. It has to be in New York. Looking at Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Jurassic Park 2, whoops, T-Rex in New York. That's what they should have fucking called it. I hate that movie.
Yeah.
I hate it with a burning passion. It doesn't deserve the hate I'm giving it, but I hate it. I love 1. I think 3 is fantastic. I hate 2.
Oh,
Really?
Did I just have an unpopular opinion?
I can see where you're coming from. I think the general consensus is 3 is the worst of the original trilogy.
It is not. It is so far not. It is look, it's an unwanted stepchild of a movie, but at least we let it sleep in the house. Jurassic Park 2 is out back. Social services is not coming to get them.
What do you like about the third one that elevates it so highly to you?
Okay, so you know how Jurassic Park 1 had a very good Velociraptor opening scene and the big, wide, beautiful shot of them finding the dinosaurs for the first time on the island? All that very good cinematic brilliance. So 3, you start with something truly terrifying, which is paragliding. Laugh.
Ha, ha, ha.
So they're on that boat, they're going through the air, the cloud. This is one of my favorite moments, so I'm gonna touch on that briefly later. But it goes a little bit of cloud cover, which I didn't. We'll talk about that later if that's scientifically accurate or not. But you get a little bit of that cloud cover, and then it reappears, and then the boat's been decimated, and all the people are gone, which I think is a truly fantastic suspense and horror moment. Like, oh, something is definitely wrong here. And I can see myself personally being afraid of being up in I'm afraid of heights. So being up in that paraglider, parasailer, whatever it is called, I'm never getting on one. I don't have to know what they're called. Is already like a point of fear. And then like, it's not just dinosaurs you're afraid of for your characters. It's the mortal fear of gravity. It has a much better opening, and then it stays better. Also, Dr. Alan Grant reappears. Spoiler alert. Sam Neill's in it.
And Laura Dern for like 2 minutes.
Yeah, 2 whole minutes. But yeah, that's why 3 just starts off better, and it just kind of stays a little bit better. I'm not saying I love it. I'm not saying that it's a child that I wanted to have in my home. But it gets to sleep in the attic because it has Dr. Alan Grant.
No, I do really like that Sam Neill returns as Dr. Grant again, having Jeff Goldblum being the star of 2. For Ian Malcolm being in the book, I 100% understand him being there. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I kind of felt like Jeff Goldblum's performance from 1 to 2 changed a little bit, where Jeff Goldblum, I'd say, was trying to act a little bit more in the first, and he was a proper, Ian Malcolm, cool, tough guy. And then he gets to 2, and he's starting to let loose a little bit. The true Jeff Goldblum silly is starting to shine through a little bit more. And so for him, in that kind of character, to be the star of the movie was a little lost on me as to why, but then when more of the ensemble cast kind of came together, I feel it balanced out. But seeing Sam Neill again was a breath of fresh air. I will say the movie 3 specifically started to lose me when Sam Neill had that dream and he looked over and the Velociraptor starts talking to him.
Again, it only gets to sleep in the house. It's not a love child.
Yeah, it's funny that Malcolm is even a character in 2 because he dies at the end of the first book. And it's kind of hinted that he's going to die in the movie as well.
Mm-hmm.
But then the second book opens and it's like, oh yeah, I was pronounced dead, was very close to dead. But I wasn't. So that might have some attribution to the slight differences in his characterization.
It's brain damage.
The one character that I thought was much better in the movies, other than the books, is Hammond. In the books, he's a very, he doesn't care about his grandchildren. He's very, this park is very egotistical. This is my creation. Nothing's going to go wrong with it. But in the movies, he's a much more lovable, almost real guy. And they kept him alive for it, too. in the books, his death was very deserving. If you don't know, he after the main threat is passed, he's taking a walk and he hears a Tyrannosaurus roar. So he slips, falls down an embankment, breaks his ankles, and compies come and eat him alive.
Oh.
The very next paragraph, it's revealed that the grandchildren are playing with the loudspeaker system and playing different dinosaur sounds. So it wasn't even a real T Rex that
No
made him
way.
fall. So a very deserving death for a not great character. Which inversely, I'm glad that he is a much better character in the films. I don't think he works as a villain. So,
Mhm.
getting on to some real life differences, the movies came out and the dinosaurs are very scientifically accurate for the time, which is the stereotypical scale, is very lizard-esque. More modern day interpretation of dinosaurs, they have feathers, they're not as reptilian as scientists once believed them to be. Yet in the movies, and it's even brought up in the script, I think they make a point to say, yeah, we chose to make them the more stereotypical dinosaurs because they're more recognizable. Do we want to see more quote unquote scientifically accurate dinosaurs in this franchise, or do we like the nostalgia aspect of the reptilian look?
I mean, personally, I love both. I love when media, especially long running series, experiment and try different things. So I'd love for them to try like feathered, more bird like dinosaurs as far as their appearance goes. Because I just think that's such an equally cool aesthetic, even if just a little bit different. And I think even in the second most recent now Jurassic World movie, I think it's called Dominion, there was a feathered dinosaur in there.
I'm gonna take a middle of the row that doesn't please anybody and angers everybody, and that is, so from your point of do you want more scientifically accurate, yes and no. Yes, I do think, like our Canadian correspondent said, seeing the more scientifically accurate is really cool. I would not be opposed to having, like, yes, the velociraptors have these beautiful, like, head and tail feathers, and we could make more articulate scenes. We could use them as plot devices, like, ooh, like, the raptors would never be able to get in here, and you just see a raptor feather just kind of, like, float down and, like, land on somebody's desk. And then you hear screaming. I think it'd be a really cool narrative piece. But at the same time, I don't like, so scientifically accurate dinosaurs, the T-Rex was primarily a scavenger, so that wouldn't be as cool. Not to mention the Compsognathus,
The compies.
the compy. They ate small like rats, lizards, and insects. I don't think they would scientifically actually be a threat to an adult human, even an injured one. Because they'd see it as too big of a target, and that, getting grabbed and getting crushed in the palm of your hand would be, a pretty big deterrent for any creature, regardless of pack size number. I'm not even sure if they were social, if they were isolationist creatures. Doesn't matter. I like the look being more scientific. I think we should leave how the dinosaurs acted to a degree of Hollywood. Again, if we start giving the T-Rex jetpacks, I think we've a little bit missed the plot. But I also think that, actually, the T-Rex preferred to scavenge off kills, and, well, they mostly ate their own young to survive, so this is a pretty... we decided to redesign the T-Rex, and we gave him an office job, and he's scared of his wife.
T-Rex is a boomer now.
The Triceratops were notably racist, and I think we should leave that out of the films.
Pterodactyls don't believe in climate change.
Brachiosaurus didn't pay his taxes. Well, he's now my favorite. No, that's a great point with your compromise there. It very much is, and I think in large part thanks to these movies. I don't think any amount of scientific
Mhm.
scientific documents or anything like that is going to convince the public otherwise that a T-Rex wasn't a stone cold killer. Right? I think these movies are so iconic. They've done a lot for um, just public knowledge of dinosaurs in general.
Mhm.
I think their characterization in these films is what everyone's going to be thinking of them for almost forever. I mean, unless we get a time machine and someone sticks a camera in there and is like, all right, here's what actually happened. I don't think any amount of scientific discovery is going to change that.
Probably not. I mean, dinosaurs in the common zeitgeist are, and again, as our knowledge evolves of them, it's never scientific discovery is never going to be more popular than Hollywood media. It just won't, simply because there's too many people who do not care, but will sit down, eat popcorn, drink Coke, and watch a lawyer get eaten by a T-Rex.
And that's what life's all about. That is what life is all about. I mean, if you can't enjoy 2 hours of animals running around and eating your friends, I mean, what else is there? I'm sorry, I thought this was America. Are we not allowed to enjoy the pastimes?
Make dinosaurs great again.
I'll make them so huge.
We're taking
They're gonna
away
be so
all of
big.
the feathers. They're gonna eat everyone who pays taxes.
The scales, you won't believe the size of the scales.
The bigliest T-Rex I've ever seen.
Spinosaurus and T-Rex having a battle. It will happen, this time with lasers.
We gave up guns.
Speaking of the Brachiosaurus committing tax evasion, therefore being the favorite dinosaur, what is, just gonna go round robin here, we'll start with our Canadian correspondent. What are our favorite dinosaurs? Just pick your favorite.
Mine has always been the Stegosaurus. I love the spikes along his back. He's just a fun little guy. Second favorite would be Triceratops. Back in the day, it was a toss-up between the two.
Very solid. I am a basic white bitch in this scenario. I love the T-Rex and the Velociraptor. They're just cool.
I have to double check my favorite and see if it's actually a dinosaur.
Oh,
Because
no.
now I'm double.
Well,
Now I'm. No, I thought I'm not asking for the pronunciation. I know how to pronounce the damn thing.
Like, is it
But
actually
it's-
classified as
It's a dinosaur now.
or
It
is
might not
like
be
a dinosaur
anymore.
adjacent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it is considered a dinosaur. So I like it mostly because of the name, the Archaeopteryx.
Oh.
Archaeopteryx.
Sometimes referred to by its German name, I can't pronounce that, I don't speak German, is a genus of bird-like dinosaur. So bird-like, but dinosaur. The name derives from the ancient Greek, I don't speak Greek, meaning ancient, and I also don't speak Greek, meaning feather or wing.
Mind
They're-
spelling that name real quick?
I will do my
can-
best. Archaeopteryx. Archaeopteryx.
Oh, wow.
Oh, he's cool.
They are
It's
pretty
a murder
they're-
bird.
Yeah, they're pretty nifty. So the reason I like them so much is, did anybody play the game Dinosaur 3D for the PC back in like the early 2000s?
I know of it, but I haven't played it.
It's great. You get to play as a silent protagonist. You follow around a colorful Parasaurolophus as she helps you collect dinosaur eggs to rescue baby dinosaurs from increasingly contrived situations. And you get to go around. It's a point and click adventure game. And you click on like a dinosaur in the background, and it gives you like a whole. It'll be like, that's the Archaeopteryx. Scientists believe da 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 da. And the Archaeopteryx was always given cool, like, pretty colors. Whether it did or not, I don't know if that's scientifically accurate. But they also brought it back in Monster Hunter World, where you get to catch them and study them. And I just love being able to just be like, that one's mine now. And you can put them in your little you can put them in your little home. And I love the Archaeopteryx because he's an underdog and his name is so cool. And it was the coolest word I knew how to say from back in that era that people are like, oh, that's a big word. He's going to be smart. I lied to all of them.
No, I like that you brought up Monster Hunter because I've always wanted a game where you can like hunt dinosaurs or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Monster Hunter's the closest I think we're gonna get in modern video game
Oh yeah,
era.
There's always Turok Dinosaur Hunter.
that's
Yeah.
true.
If you have a PS2 and a time machine,
Oh, I do have PS2.
Is it not on Steam?
it might actually be on Steam. Now I might get a Steam port.
All right, I know this is very off topic. They made like a very weird spin-off of it where it's like a team shooter now.
Oh.
I forget the name of it. It's escaping me.
Or Evolve, Prey,
Oh, no. Hang on.
something along
I can do
those
it.
lines.
Didn't they make a Telltale style-esque game?
A
And
Jurassic
wasn't it
Park
Jurassic
one?
Park branded? Or was it not?
There was a Jurassic Park. You know Zoo Tycoon?
Yeah.
There was a Jurassic Park version of that I played for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, it's more recent though, right? It's
The one I'm
like-
thinking about came out, oh God, I don't even know. It had to be early 2000s. It was back when I was still operating the PC with my feet.
Yeah, I mean, for all this franchise has, like, it's huge movies. The books are amazing. It doesn't really have video games. I mean, the two branded games I know of are the Park Manager
Mhm.
style games that have come out a few years ago.
Mhm.
But I mean, the closest I think we're gonna get is like a Monster Hunter kind of thing, where it's like, okay, you hunt Nanjanath 40 times, and then that's it.
Whoa. You hunt it 50 times. You're not gonna get the gem you need until that 50th hunt.
Oh, my bad, right?
Look,
Or you could play Monster-
I gotta make him into pants, and there's only one way to do that.
Or you could play Monster Hunter Stories, and you could be best friends with all of them
Oh, that's so
and
true.
ride them around.
I will always
Oh.
sing the praises of Monster Hunter World. What about the other ones? And I don't care about them.
Yeah, I played a bit of Rise, and I wasn't a fan of the controls. I think maybe because I was playing that one on Switch. But Wilds, that's the newest one, right?
That is correct.
Yes.
Wild is essentially Monster Hunter World 2. I have not actually played Wilds. I was giving it a little bit of time because if we recall, Monster Hunter World, when it first came out, was a netcode disaster. And I was giving them time to flesh that out. I think people are expecting too much out of Wilds, which is why its Steam score is so low. I actually haven't bought it myself, even though it's on sale right now. But if we look at the comparison, Monster Hunter World, I think, currently has more active players than Wilds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is
I think
insane.
Monster Hunter World was the first game that really pushed the franchise into like mainstream video game audiences.
Yes, it
like-
got a lot of hate because it's like, oh well, these are all monsters we've seen in previous games. Yeah, we know. We took them from sprites to being full 3D models. What do you want from us? As well as the reason they called it Monster Hunter World and not Monster Hunter 5 was because they were afraid that it would scare people away from not playing the other previous Monster Hunter games, which I think was a wonderful marketing move. But it changed the entire genre of Monster Hunter. And a lot of people,
Yeah.
older fans, hated it because, well, it's too easy now. Go back to playing Dark Souls. Just go back to playing Dark Souls. If it's too easy, fine, go play over there. That being said, I do think it's easier than previous iterations, but there's so much more going on that it doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
Right.
we're getting off topic. Back to the dinosaurs. You can hunt dinosaurs in Monster Hunter World. Let me explain to you more.
Yeah, you asked us a little bit ago what our favorite dinosaurs were, and I think that is for my male for our male audiences. I don't know if you guys can agree. That's one of the biggest problems about growing up is no one asks you what your favorite dinosaur is anymore after you hit like 11.
They really don't.
Oh god,
Right?
for real.
So I really appreciate you asking that question.
I
It really
feel
made me feel validated
I feel
in my
that
interest.
question has deepened our friendship, and I think now going forward, we can continue our lives knowing that we all have good choice in dinosaur, which makes you a trustworthy person.
Yes.
Oh,
In a
absolutely.
similar vein, I asked you guys a few nights ago to think of your top 3 favorite moments in the franchise, and I'm wondering what your decisions are.
You know, like before, Canadian correspondent, why don't you go ahead and give us your three first, since you are our guest?
Sure. All right.
And
So I
as an
want
asshole host, I'm going to cut him off and go
please.
first. Go ahead,
Please,
please.
after you, sir. Um, so I think one of my favorite moments occurs in Jurassic Park 2, where where they're all in the like camper van and the T-Rex is pushing them off the cliff and it just tips over the edge and Sarah falls onto that like glass back of the camper van. Visually, it's just so stunning, and that's one of the only moments where I really felt like true tension, like my chest got really tight, where it's just like she's laying on nothing, but you see these cracks start to form, and just the slow tension of Nick trying to get the phone and Ian trying to reach down for her, and then for it all just to break in a single second and it all be okay. I love that moment so much. I'll say my favorite I'll say my favorite moment. The whole scene in Jurassic Park 1 in the kitchen with the velociraptors. My two favorite moments are from this scene where it's a hard cut to Dr. Allen going, "There's no way the velociraptors can open doors." Hard cut to the velociraptor opening the door. I love that. So it's so funny. The humor in Jurassic Park, especially like the first three movies, is so underrated just because there's moments like Ian Malcolm closing the door trying to hide from a velociraptor in Jurassic World 2, and a velociraptor just jumping through the window that's directly next to him and just looking at him and be like, "What now? What are you gonna do now, bud?"
It's very subtle in a way where it's like it's obviously not trying to be like a joke, but it is very funny.
Yeah, it is. Um, and I'll say my most favorite moment is also has to do with the Velociraptors. I love the Velociraptors in Jurassic Park so much. They're used just so well as like a vehicle for the story. Is when again they're in the kitchen. You see Liz, I think her name is the little girl.
Mhm.
She like distracts the Velociraptor. She's like in that little uh box in the kitchen and she's trying to close the lid and she can't. The Velociraptor's just charging right at her. The Velociraptor slams against the reflection of her
Mhm.
in like one of the kitchen stoves.
Yeah,
Like
super
that's
good.
just brilliant. It's animalistic, which is what I love about these dinosaurs specifically. Sorry, my computer just fell asleep. Can you
No, yeah,
still hear me?
you're good. You're
Yeah,
here.
you are all
Okay.
good. We got
Phew. All right. Let me just start from the top. What I love about these movies and a movie like Alien is that the main villain is so animalistic. They're acting on pure instinct and they have no other motivation other than I'm hungry and I need food and you look like food. So I'm going to get you. And it's just so I love when the dinosaurs can just be like animals, you know?
The
yes.
real, like you were saying, the man versus nature vibe of the first three movies.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it's like, sorry, bud. Like, I know you want to militarize them, but if the U.S. military can't train dolphins for war, you're not going to be able to train a velociraptor, bud. So there's like, it's almost comical how stupid that was.
It really was. It's just every oh god, sorry, not to get off topic a little bit. Um every Jurassic Park I feel opens with like without any lick of common sense. Like Jurassic Park 1 is just like, do you really think it's a good idea to bring dinosaurs back? And they go, it's fine. And a few minutes later, be like, okay, turns out it's not fine. And then you get to something like Jurassic Park World, where it's like, Jurassic World, sorry, where it's like, oh, we figured everything out. All the dinosaurs are cool now, but we made a really big one that's very dangerous and very scary because that's what the kids want to see. And then a few minutes later, it's like, oh, hey, I guess that wasn't such a great idea, was it? It's like, I wonder who could have told you that. I wonder how that could have happened.
Have you not
buddy.
seen the other 3 documentaries about this franchise?
Have you not seen the 3 separate disasters of what happens when you try to mess with the dinos, man?
Yeah, and there's a whole nother franchise based off of this concept. Actually, I don't. You asked last week, Cam, what the origins of Godzilla was. It's actually this: they genetically modified a T-Rex, and it went way too far. It broke out of containment in Japan, and that's how this happened.
That's honestly better than the origin story they could have come up with.
Again, I'm lying to you. It's another bit. I have no idea what the origins of Godzilla was.
I thought he was.
Wasn't it nuclear was it like nuclear radiation? Because that's the big diatribe between like the U.S. and Japan, is that in the U.S. uranium creates superheroes, and in Japan it creates monsters. Because
exactly
there was 2 events that happened in the 40s. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but it kind of changed the scope.
Yeah, we're not really taught about it at all.
No, I have no idea what you're talking about. Actually,
Nope.
we don't learn about that in Canada.
No, you don't need to. You guys are so peaceful.
We didn't create. We didn't create 2 artificial suns in Japan.
No, we already got 1 sun. Why would you?
Yeah, why would we need more?
What is this, Tatooine?
God.
All right. Your favorite moments, Cam?
All right. So, first, I think it's the. Oh, am my brain remembering this wrong? I think I remember it correctly. First, yeah, it's the first movie rather. So Dr. Alan Grant is at a dig site, and they're like, and there's that fat chubby kid. Do you remember the fat chubby kid? Yeah. And he's like, and dinosaurs is stupid. I can fight dinosaurs. And Dr. Alan Grant takes a raptor talon and just like draws like on the kid. Like first he would slit you down the middle, then he would go for the throw, and then he'd rip out your organs and you'd be dead. And then he just walks away.
He has such a way with words with children.
Such a power move.
He also inspired me. So if you know what a karambit is, a karambit knife, I have a love for weaponry, and the reason I love the karambit is because of that scene and being like, I got a raptor claw. So Dr. Alan Grant inspired real world fascinations with that as well. Second favorite, and this is gonna be a cop out, but faster must go faster.
Yep.
Which is
That's a good one. Yeah.
Which I believe it's a callback to, is it Armageddon or is it Doomsday? The one, you know what? Never mind. We're gonna skip on from that because I don't know enough about movies. And ow. Speaking of the karambit. And third and final is going to be, as I've already gone over before, the masterclass in suspense that is Jurassic Park 3's opening with, it's a wonderful day paragliding, to cloud cover, to, oh god, they're dead, what happened? Was it sharks? It must have been sharks. It wasn't sharks.
Yeah, you're paragliding near Dinosaur Island, dumbass. What do you think's gonna happen?
Dear God, how could this have happened? There are only so many signs. So yeah, those are definitely my 3 favorites, all for the wrong reasons. But yes, host, let us judge your 3 favorite moments.
Yeah, before I get into it, I find it hilarious how all of us have 3 different choices, and absolutely none of them are from the sequel.
Again, stepchildren outside.
Yeah, so my first one is the power scene in the first one where Ellie is going around the power station trying to turn it back on, and it's just so suspenseful in the dark, and then once the lights are finally turned back on, she finds Samuel L. Jackson, like she gets comfort in that arm a bit, and then it turns out it is just an arm, so the tensions are right back up. Masterclass in suspense right there. I also chose the T-Rex scene, although I think I'll go the first part with the T-Rex's reveal. Um, Again, it's so awesome seeing that practical effect on screen. It just mind-blowing, breathtaking. I can't say anything of significance about it because one, it's already been said by much more articulated people, um, and it's just again like mind-numbingly amazing. My third choice, I also picked a raptor scene. I almost picked the one specific shot right before the kitchen scene where the kids are eating and you see the silhouette of the raptor on the screen. I didn't pick that. I went with the Jurassic Park 3 raptor scene where the survivors are up in the tree and the one pilot is running and the raptors trap him, wound him to bait the others out of their hiding place. Um, but eventually, when they don't come down, the raptors just kill him. I thought that was a really terrifying scene to just put yourself in the pilot's shoes, and yeah, not a fun way to go.
We the Raptors and our Canadian correspondent can probably already knew this ahead of time. That's a war crime.
Yeah. Who's gonna know?
Who's gonna know?
Hey, history's determined by the victors.
And
They
right
write
now,
the history books.
more raptors than humans on that island.
Who you gonna believe, the dead guy or the Velociraptor?
I believe the Velociraptor. Have you seen those claws?
He was like that when we found him. Pay no attention to the raptor marks in his back, but he was. We swear.
This was clearly a
The
Gallimimus
did it.
attack.
All right. Well, we are getting close to time here. Are there any? Will, is there anything we didn't touch on that you really wanted to bring up?
Excuse me. I racking my brain a little bit here. I don't think there's anything.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This is probably more self-telling than anything else, but when we were all very little when we first saw the first Jurassic Park movie, yeah?
I was about 16.
I
So
was not
not
in
as little.
existence.
Will, don't answer this question. Whatever you do not answer this question. This is really for me and for the host. Okay, so you know the two kids in the first Jurassic Park movie?
Yeah.
You know the girl Liz?
Yep.
Did you have an insane crush on Liz because she was this older, mature girl compared to you being like a little 6-year-old? And you're like, she is so cool and she is so awesome.
No, I can't say I did. I was more focused on I wanted to see the dinosaurs eat people. That was what I was there for. And I was not going to let a woman distract me from the fact that I wanted to see lizards absolutely demolish people.
That's fair. I had a crush on Liz as a child, not today.
Yeah.
I want to make that this is why our King Griff was not allowed to answer. He saw the movie
And I
way
am
too
not
late.
answering.
The
I did not-
SpongeBob meme of something about to crush him, and he's like, "Wait."
Remind you, I was like 6 years old and she was like 12. To me, that's like she's a cool teenager and older kids are awesome. That makes her hot. Even though she's covered in like muck and grease the entire like movie.
Have those kids done any major acting outside of that? Because I don't.
For some reason, I always thought that the little boy was Junie from Spy Kids, but I don't think that's true.
No, that
I
wasn't.
do see that though.
Yeah, because like
I did
everyone
not-
else.
I'm sorry.
Sorry,
you
go
go.
ahead. No, I was
No,
just gonna
I-
say everyone else.
I'm gonna shut up.
Okay, just to finish up, like everyone else obviously had been established in their careers and have done stuff since, but I don't really recall if the kids got any major parts after that.
It wasn't Liz, it was Lex.
Lex. Okay.
Lex.
You're right. All right. Now I'm going to shut up so I don't keep cutting you off.
No, I'm sorry for cutting you off. That's my beat. A little question popped into my head because, as I'm sure we all know, there is a new Jurassic World playing in theaters right now. How do we feel about it? Are we going to go see it?
Do we go see it? Is it a continuation of the other movies, or is it a standalone? Do we know?
It's a new standalone from Jurassic World.
So I think it's starting a new trilogy, correct?
Yes, that's my assumption.
Yeah. I still haven't seen Dominion, but I mean, I'd like to see the new one. The thing that kind of I'm iffy about is they're leaning really hard into the genetic mutations on this one, it looks like, from the marketing. Which is they were gonna do that for a Jurassic Park 4 with like human dinosaur hybrids.
Oh, for real?
But I think thankfully Jurassic Park 4 never happened. But yeah, it looks like they crossed a T-Rex with a Rancor in some of the marketing material, so I'm not sure how that's gonna play off, if that's gonna be scary or if it's just gonna be goofy.
Should we just...
But I would be interested in seeing it.
I say we make it a bros day. We all go to the movie theater. We get some popcorn. We get some Coca-Cola. We sit there. We watch it. We come back. We do a follow-up episode, and we give it our rating. We tear it to shreds, or we praise it to high heaven.
Now, Cameron, are you going to be watching this because you have a crush on the leading actress, or are you going to watch it because you want to see dinosaurs eat people?
Wait, is Chris Pratt in it?
I think it's Scarlett Johansson in this one.
Okay, I'm going to see this movie whether you guys go with me or not. For completely dinosaur-related reasons.
Of course, you got to see the new big guy.
Yeah, I want to see the new mutations. I want to see what science has done this time. So yeah, I think we do a bro day and we go see the movie and we leave the chicks at home. Because this is a dinosaur movie.
They can watch the one with Jeff Goldblum. They can watch that one. We'll go watch. You guys are married, so
I'm only half.
We
married.
are. You're to be wed.
I am betrothed currently. Where is my? I don't even know where my ring's upstairs.
Not wearing your ring during the podcast record session.
Now wearing my ring. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I got mine on.
Okay, fine. I don't. Whatever. All right. Well, that's our time.
You know what? Show's over. Everybody go home.
All right.
Yeah. Do you want to close this out, host?
Yeah. As long as there are no final thoughts, Will, thank you for being our very first guest. We really appreciate having you on. Lots of great conversations. If you want to reach out to us, we are Two Raccoons Podcast at gmail.com. That's 2 C's, 2 O's, no spaces. Send us your questions, concerns, podcast ideas. We'd love to hear from you. But with that, Will, you want to say goodbye?
Yeah. Thank you both so much for having me. This was a treat and an honor. Remember to be kind to each other.
That's asking
yeah,
a lot
all the
of our
dinosaurs
audience.
listening, be kind to each other.
The dinosaurs specifically.
Yes. All right. Well, this has been Two Raccoons in a Trench Coat podcast. Thank you all for listening. I've been some guy with a hat.
I have been some guy with a microphone.
And we'll catch you next time.
Bye-bye.